Hello students, today in this video we will talk about body, so commonly used term body, which is not only physical in nature but also having certain spiritual aspects, and the compilation of all the bodily organs with the spirit, mind, body and soul results in the formation of any concrete personality. Thus, in the concept of sociology of religion, when we talk about body, that means life cycle rituals. It is interesting to note that as a child takes birth, at the time of birth, child is a biological organism. He cannot be said or she cannot be said as social or antisocial, but asocial. And with the process of socialization, the child become active member of the society, and this active member, the role of socialization and the process of rituals makes a biological organism a social being, and this process gives a concrete shape to the body. In this particular video, we will talk about the body, about the life cycle rituals. A life cycle ritual is a ceremony to mark a change in person's biological or social status at various phases throughout the life. Such practices are found in many societies and are often based on tradition of a community. For example, a child takes birth in any family. That birth is not only a birth of a child, but birth of many new relationships in the family. A girl become mother, a boy become father, means a husband-wife relationship then converts into parenthood. Other members of the family also get associated with their various new names. So, the cycle starts with certain rituals, with Garbhadhan Sanskar to the Namkaran Sanskar, and then comes the Sanskar of marriage, and then last stage of life, death, also contain certain rituals and ceremonies. In this way, sanskars or ceremonies hold very important place in society. Thus, now it is very clear that these rituals of life cycle are present in all the societies and often are associated or based on traditions of that particular society. Rites of passage, which are known as the life cycle rituals, are rituals that mark transitional states of person's life, such as going from youth to adulthood or from unmarried to married. It is an institutionalized way of marking the end of one societal status and beginning of the other. These sanskars are and the associated rituals prepare a person emotionally for the new situation to begin and make him aware of the new responsibilities and rights. This is the reason ancient old traditions of sanskars are still prevalent in Indian society in one way or the other, because every phase is new for an individual. No doubt, experiences of other people prove helpful to a person in providing guidance while dealing to that phase of the life, but again it is a matter of personal experience how that person faces that situation and deal with that situation. And in this way, these sanskars, these life cycle rituals provide guidance to an individual, prepare that individual, that person to get ready what are the things that they face in their life and how those situations can be tackled down easily to make a life in a very peaceful manner. The Belgian anthropologist Genep presented an outline on the classification of rights. He has written that a person is not only born in the society, but he is reconstructed as a social person by carving him through the sacraments of the path of life. Yes, these sacraments, these sanskars, these rituals help in carving an individual from a biological organism to a social being. Therefore, these hold an important place in the life of an individual. Now, if we talk about the cycle or the life cycle rituals, these are the core of religion also. Life cycle rituals refer more to the cycle of life, birth, marriage and death. These are the three important phenomena of social life, because birth again birth is the reason responsible for everything. A person gets birth in the society or in a family, life starts and life gets complete with the death. So, between this cycle of life and death, between this cycle of cradle to grave, there are innumerable things which takes place in the life of an individual, like marriage, education, professional life, whatsoever be the persona of an individual or the age of an individual or the status of an individual, a person passes through definite stages of the life, and these stages provide new opportunities, new challenges to an individual in each and every phase, and by the performance of these rituals, life cycle rituals, a person get information, knowledge, the way out to deal with the phenomenon of life. Nevertheless, the ritual itself may not follow a linear path. That is to say that between birth and death of a man or woman, one may have one or more divorces and marriages in their life. This is almost a universal fact. Moreover, another phase of our problem is that a study of a life cycle ritual often begins at conception, goes on through various rituals during the pregnancy period and till the childbirth period, and after till the death. So, these cycle of life and death goes out in the life of every individual, and every individual faces life cycle rituals in their life. If we talk about the meaning of the term sanskar, the word sanskar is interpreted in many ways. Most of the scholars of Western thought have tried to explain it by words like ceremony and rites, whereas the reality is that both these words do not fully explain the meaning of the term sanskar. A more appropriate synonym of the word sanskar is the English word sacrament, which means religious ritual or that act which is considered an external and visible symbol of inner and spiritual beauty. In the Jaimini Sutra, it is said that sanskar is that by the performance of which a substance becomes useful. Therefore, in every terminology of religions, the term sanskar is present in one way or the other. Now, the concept of usefulness is associated with this term. The literal meaning of sanskar is having connection with purification, improvement. Therefore, we can say that work done in a proper way to purify the life is called sanskar. It is on the basis of this literal meaning that Hindus understand the purification of souls by rituals, because without these, the purification of life and soul progress cannot take place. Raja Bali Pandey, in his book Hindu Sanskar, Social and Religious Studies, has written that sanskar refers to religious rituals of purification and rites performed for the physical, mental and intellectual refinement of the individual, so that he is that person to be fully developed member of society. Generally, a person is seen just only as a physical appearance, but it is not the true sense of an individuality. The physical appearance is just only a part, but at the same time a person is having his emotional aspect, social aspect, religious aspect, psychological aspect. These all aspects all together in synchronization results in the formation of a well balanced personality. So, the word ritual can only be understood in the background of the who is using it. For a layman, all rituals takes place within a church in keeping with various relations. For a doctor, however, it may refer to some habits of a patient. For Durkheim, rites are the modes of behavior which delineate how a man should conduct himself in the presence of sacred objects. A recent publication of Coppet states that ritual is a special kind of performance which is both an act and as a statement. Therefore, the activity which is performed by an individual is said as ritual, and at the same time the statement or the words used by an individual in the performance of that particular activity can also be treated as rituals. Finally, life cycle rituals have an effect on society of rejuvenating its sentiments, as Radcliffe Brown puts it, and make it more clear. Gennep found that these ceremonies of life cycle rituals, which he calls as rites of passage, were to be found in all the society, and this includes three major phases. First is separation, second is transition, and third is incorporation. Gennep very clearly identified and classified these phases. These phases can be found in birth, marriage and death. With respect to our topic, we find that the ideas of separation, transition and incorporation are all indicating the tension or liminality which accompanies with its rituals. Thus, rituals of a life cycle, whether birth and marriage or death, have within them an inbuilt mechanism of tension management. The same ideas have been expressed in terms of the effects of preliminarity, liminality and post-liminality. Thus, whether it is birth, marriage and death, each aspect of life have tension of its own type. Tension arises at childbirth. It takes place in the fulfillment of the sacrament of marriage, and even death cannot be said as without tension, because these events call for a very careful handling. In death especially, there is fear factor which is working in it, so also in others. However, an important observation made by Gennep is that the three major phases of separation, transition and incorporation are not developed to the same extent by all societies in every set of ceremonies. Thus, the rite of separation are prominent in funeral ceremonies, rites of incorporation are prominent in marriage ceremonies, and transition rites plays an important part in pregnancy and initiation rites, because these three are very important and different aspects of life. So, the rituals associated with them are definitely hold importance in that particular context. As very clearly said that death in itself is having the component of separation. So, the rites and rituals which deals with it are having the ceremony of separation associated to it. When we talk about marriage ceremony, then it include the incorporation factor in it, because a person get involved or incorporated in the family, a new member get involved in a family, incorporated in the family. So, the rituals which are performed in the marriage ceremony definitely have the factor or the phase of incorporation. And when we talk about the births of an individual, of a child in a family, then again the initiation of life take place. So, the rituals which are associated with the initiation are the part of life in it. There is some difference of opinion in the religious text regarding the number of sanskars in every religion. Therefore, major rituals or sanskar in Hindu life scheme we will discuss now. Basically, Dayanand Saraswati has given 16 rituals which are performed before the birth of a child, during childhood and at the same time of education and occasion. These sacraments are defined in this following slide, where I have given, where I have tried to name these rituals like conception, punsavan, simation, jatkaran, nomenclature, evacuation, food annaprashan, which is said as chudakaran, ear piercing, vidyaaram, upanayan, vedaramb, keshant, convergence, marriage and funeral. These 16 very commonly seen in the Indian society mindset, where people in one way or the other have their association with these rites, with these sacraments. Some people or some society members or some caste particularly define it in or celebrate each and every ritual, but in certain societies or certain section of people specifically celebrate either one or two ritual, but every person in Indian society is associated with ritual ceremonies in their lifetime. Despite having a specific purpose of each rite, the rules and regulation of different rituals are similar in the sense that by all of them have desired fruit in their hidden concept. And this is the reason that sacrament is present in all the society. If we talk about the objectives of Hindu rituals, it symbolically representing the simple mind of human being and their cultural characteristics. It is meant for the purpose to protect the person from evil forces and to attain the desired objects in their life. Attainment of worldly prosperity is also possible because of these sacraments, and to develop moral qualities in a person is possible because of these rituals. To develop personality on cultural basis is possible because of rituals, and to clarify the importance of spirituality is again an important element or objective of Hindu rituals. So, rituals hold a very important place in every section of the society. If we talk about the sociological importance of rituals or sacraments, it would not be inappropriate to look at this slide particularly, where the in points this is given a clear explanation that this sanskar provides social significance in the life. How? In the following manner, that it proves helpful in the development of personality. From cradle to grave, when a person goes through these sanskars, they get the concept of purification, or as earlier repeatedly said by me in the various lectures, that the concept of sacredness which is associated to religion is again highlighted by the process or the performance of any ritual in the lifetime. So, it proves helpful in the development of our personality. It proves helpful even in the fulfillment of the biological needs of an individual, and at the same time it is the best medium of education, because just not only by the words a person can learn, but by the performance of various activities people get information, they get learning about their social customs and traditions by these rituals. It proves helpful in the process of socialization, and it is of cultural and moral importance which guide an individual to move in a direction, in a right direction, in a proper way for the betterment not only of his own life, but also for the people of the society. It is a medium of self-expression, and it is having its spiritual significance. Therefore, this is not only sociologically important, but also important from the point of view of religion and spirituality. Therefore, not only in Hindu community we talk about this particular ritual or sacraments, but in all other communities the existence of sacrament is present. After knowing about the social significance of these life cycle rituals, let us talk about Hindu sanskars. Rajbali Pandey in the book pointed out about the following schemes in his book, that there are prenatal rituals, rituals of childhood are there, educational rituals. He also talked about marriage and funeral rituals. These are specifically highlighted in the book, but it is my personal experience that these rituals are part and parcel of life of every individual in every society. Main objective of prenatal rites are to avoid abortion, keep evil forces and demons away, and to keep the pregnant woman safe and happy. We now turn to Jat Karm or the birth ceremonies. These are the rituals of childhood, and in Hindu community very commonly we see that education rituals are associated with Vidya Aram Sanskar, and if we talk about marriage in itself is a Hindu sacrament defined by various sociologists. Now let's we talk about the last rite in Hindu community, which deals with the funeral phase. Cremation is the most recognized form of disposal of a corpse among the Hindu from the Vedas up to the present time. This custom is believed to be the most refined by the Hindus. Some causes could be led to this belief that communities which were nomadic found it convenient to cremate and carry only some bones of the ancestors with them. Secondly, desire to be free of the ghost is also a powerful motive. When the body was gone, to the ghost could not stay. Fire, which consumed entire forest at times, probably suggested its utility in burning away the dead as well. And the reasons were strong in the early phases, but later on it was the prestige and honor given to Agni that made it the method par excellence to exhume a corpse. Thus, in every community, specifically I have talked about Hindu community in these slides about the beginning and the last rites of human life. Now let us talk about Christianity specifically, means the rituals among Christians. The 7 sacraments are baptism, confirmation, the Eucharist, ordination, marriage, reconciliation and the anointing of the sick. The 2 most important sacraments are baptism and the Eucharist. Baptism is the ritual prayer action through which a person becomes a member of the Christian community and the church. Depending on the specific denomination of Christianity, practice may include baptism, the Eucharist, prayer, confession, confirmation, burial rites, marriage rites and the religious education of children. If we talk about the rituals among Sikhism, then righteousness and morality are central to the practice of Sikhism. Truth, that is Sat, is one of the 5 virtues of Sikhism and encompasses honesty, justice, fairness and righteousness. Sat is a Sanskrit word which roughly translates to true essence of life. It is one of the most important qualities Sikhs develop in their life. The Sikh faith condemns empty rituals and superstitions. The practice of blind rituals, worshipping of idols and inanimate objects, participating in religious fast, pilgrimages to holy places, offering of food to sadhus, believing in any such other rituals, superstitions or faiths or meaningless rituals will not bring one closer to God or make one a better human being is highlighted by the ritual practices among Sikhism. Some of the rituals of Sikhism are the Amrit ceremony of baptism, the Anand Karaj ceremony of marriage and the naming ceremony for babies. The rituals of Sikhism are guided by the Rehat Maryada, the official code of conduct. Gurudwara are places where Sikhs gather communally to worship and are identified by the Nishan Sahib, a religious flag. However, this isn't their only purpose because God is everywhere and Sikh also worship at home. So, the Gurudwaras also have other purposes including the teaching of faith tradition, a safe haven for people to go and talk with someone if they need a friend, a place or to feed the community and enjoy companionship, and a place of setting for rituals and ceremonies. Therefore, non-Sikhs are also welcome in Gurudwaras. If we talk about 5 customs of Sikhs, there are 5 Ks which the people follow religiously. First, Kada, a steel bracelet, Kesh, uncut hair, Kanga, a wooden comb, Kacha, a special underwear, Kirpan, a ceremonial sword. Thus, in one way or the other, by following one tradition or the other, birth, death and marriage are present in all the communities and all the communities perform rituals with specific names in their community in order to fulfill their life cycle rituals of life. So, whether we call it as a Namkaran Sanskar, whether we call it as baptism, whether we call it as Amrit Chakna, in one way or the other, every ceremony every ritual aspect of life for an individual who follow one or the other religion is associated with this life cycle ritual. Now, in order to conclude, it is very important to talk about the functions of rituals, because the names are different, but ritual perform same functions in all the societies. First, rituals prove helpful in the process of socialization. By converting biological organism into a social being is possible by the performance of certain rituals in the life. It works for the social control because it creates a feeling of discipline among the life of an individual, and by having the principle of self-discipline in an individual life, the social control mechanism becomes easier. Ritual has its merits and status, and therefore, ritual is having specific identification. Though the process by which rituals are performed in every society varies, the person who perform rituals known by different names, the activities which are performed by rituals can be different, but the motive of performance of rituals are present similarly in all the societies. For the spirituals movement or the advancement, rituals are important. At the same time, rituals are working for non-verbal communication with the supernatural power. By verbal communication, by shlokas, by mantras, definite activities are performed while completion of any ritual, but at the same time, non-verbal communication is also a part of the fulfillment of ritual. Therefore, rituals serve in the form of a therapy. It provides a sense of security to an individual while performing that, and it is at the same time occupation for certain people who perform that activity in society, in every community, and it also get transmitted from one generation to another, but overall rituals are the way of life for everyone. So, in this particular video, we talk about the body of social life, and which include from cradle to grave performance of various rituals in the life of a person, whether it is Hindu community, whether we talk about Christianity, Sikhism or any other tribal life, but still the presence and existence of life cycle rituals are present in all the societies. Thank you.